when I don't understand something in the Bible, it's not my fault. It's actually God's. Hey, I'm Sarah, and I do TikToks about deconstruction and leaving faith, specifically Christianity and evangelical Christianity. So I did a post about this earlier, and I wanted to elaborate a little bit because I got a lot of questions that I want to talk about. So this statement is predicated on a few assumptions about Christianity. One is that you have to believe the right things in order to go to heaven. So if you want to be saved, you have to accept Jesus into your heart, and that's the only way you can get to heaven. And then the other assumption is that the Bible is the Word of God, and that is how we find facts and information about who God is, who Jesus is, and what their actions meant. So those are my assumptions. If you're on a deconstruction journey, you, I'm sure, have been diving in to the Bible, trying to figure out, well, what about this contradiction? What does this mean? And maybe you have tried to understand the culture when it was written. Maybe you've, even like me, tried to read it in the original Greek. There is a lot of deep diving that you can do to try and understand this better. But my point is that if the stakes are that you have to understand certain information about who Jesus is, and you have to believe that information in order to go to heaven, and if you don't, you go to hell. If that information is not communicated clearly to me, that is God's responsibility, because He created me. He knows what would convince me. He knows what questions I would have. And if we assume that He is all powerful, all knowing, has foresight, has total authority, He absolutely could have created a document that makes total sense to everybody. Even though we're super different, if He is all powerful, He could figure out a way to do it. But He didn't. And so the document we're left with is confusing, contradictory, and also not very prescriptive, right? It's mostly stories where we even just guess at the moral of the story. So my larger point is that if God wanted us to really crystal clearly understand the Bible, He could have done it a whole lot differently.